Ai, ai, ai. Só vai.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house. I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed
É,
inside
mano,
half the
esse
rooms.
daqui, esse jogo aqui é foda demais, mano. Ganhou como melhor do jogo, filho. Várias vezes.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately. I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral. In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back. No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints. The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to. The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
Tudo que eu lembrava, tudo que sonhava.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, As a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Eu quis saber exatamente como. Sumiu. Mas o jogo aqui é foda demais, né?
I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't. Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me. Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11. The power had been turned off the night we left. For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
Tinha suas memórias.
Like how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot. Or how after Louis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly. Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive. Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house. Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
Podemos fazer aqui.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. My mom was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
Lá vamos nós.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Ah, porra.
Whenever people ask me about my family, The first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
Bárbara.
Mom must have locked the third-floor stairs on the night we left.
Ultimamente, essa Bárbara é a famosinha da família, vamos dizer.
Edie's father, Odin, built the original house.
Tô ligado, velho. Deixa eu ver pra cá não.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up. Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
Quer ver passar secretos, mas nunca acreditei nele. Opa.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Basicamente esse jogo aqui, ela voltou pra casa dos pais e tal. Mas a família toda morreu, só sobrou ela.
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. But I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Acho que tudo isso ia levar.
I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole.
Mágico.
Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage. I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors.
Minha mãe lacrar as portas.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Pura.
Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
My Halloween candy was all gone.
Chata.
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
Não, melhor não, vai.
I kept eating and eating.
Caralho.
I ate a lot of things that night. Then I heard chirping outside my window.
Oxi.
It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly, I was a cat.
What the fuck? Okay.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Você vira. Aí você tá muito
Mom
alto.
and Dad didn't even look at me. I jumped and I almost got her.
Beleza, só vai.
I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree.
Alto
I
demais.
promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl.
Coruja.
First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits. I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
Bem na. Vai, né?
A mama rabbit. She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating.
Não podia parar de comer.
And suddenly, I was a shark.
Eita caralho. Ah, eu não tô controlando o tubarão. Ué. Porra.
I rolled off the cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Sou um tubarão, velho.
I wanted fat, juicy seals. Grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water.
Fora d'água.
When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Eita caralho.
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
Agora era monstro. Com certeza das pessoas que eu vi.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Era grande, mas me movia bem silenciosamente.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't. After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And to cross the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it.
Caralho.
I slithered onto the sand.
Sabe que esse jogo aqui é porque, tá ligado? Tá contando a história da garotinha, tá ligado? Isso aqui é a imaginação dela. Eita porra, vai entrar no cu de alguém.
I got closer and closer. All of my stomach started growling.
Começaram a roncar.
And suddenly, I was me again.
De repente era eu de novo.
My breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear
Por muito tempo,
anything.
mas não conseguia ouvir
I
nada.
think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
I'm not sure if I believed all
Ah,
of
meu,
that,
agora
but I'm sure
descobri
he
como ela
didn't have.
morreu. Tá ligado? É triste, mas tu parar pra raciocinar, ela morreu de fome.
I can't describe it, but I felt like some part of Molly was still here. This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
Molly.
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune.
Opa.
Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house. Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Ó, vai, velho. Para onde agora, hein?
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't. One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity. I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time.
Fazia muito tempo. Muito tempo.
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Sobre a casa Finch. Minha mãe ficou furiosa.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother. The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace. There's a secret in this bathroom.
Segredo.
It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Opa.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down. I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin.
Eu sabia que a vovó tinha um gênio. Vovô Sam.
And that he never talked about him.
Ele nunca falava dele. Porque ele nunca falava.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Acho que meu avô não gostava da história assim como a minha mãe.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Eita caralho.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom,
Ele morreria antes.
and he did.
E assim foi.
At Barbara's funeral, he swore
No
he'd
funeral da
never
Bárbara
be afraid
juramos que
again.
nunca teríamos medo
And
de
he
novo.
wasn't.
Ele teve.
I think Calvin always
Acho que o
wanted to
Calvin
fly.
sempre quis voar. Vai dar merda isso, hein?
Sam, Calvin, dinner's ready. Coming.
But that day, he finally
Mas
made up
aquele
his
dia
mind to
ele
do it.
finalmente decidiu tentar.
I told him going around was impossible.
E ele dar a volta era impossível.
Maybe if
Eita
I hadn't said that.
caralho. Eita
I'm not
caralho.
gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the winds hadn't picked up,
Se o vento não tivesse aumentado. Se o vento não tivesse
then
aumentado.
maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it.
Talvez ele ainda estaria aqui mais vivo.
I think he'd already made up his mind.
Acho que ele já se decidiu.
That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Quero me lembrar sobre meu irmão. Eita caralho.
The day he made up his mind to fly.
O dia que ele decidiu
And he
que
did.
queria voar, ele voou.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Triste.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the
Depois do
room.
funeral ele isolou com uma corda pra ficar.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room
Estou com
again.
18 e nunca colocou os pés na cômoda de novo. No cômodo de novo. Tá fora.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Isso não é até o final.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Eu sempre pensei que Bárbara como artista mesmo.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her
Eu pensei
afterwards.
sobre como difícil deve ter sido para ela depois.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Só fez isso.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending
Surpresa de
of
Bárbara Finch.
Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream.
Famosa com seu grito.
Now at 16, she was all washed
Agora
up.
16 tinha sido completamente superada, ultrapassada.
But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her
Então,
signature
surgiu uma
scream
oportunidade,
at a
ela foi
local
chamada para
convention
interpretar
for
seu
monster
grito
movie
característico.
fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't
Infelizmente, seu grito não
aged well.
envelheceu bem.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Só precisa da
Her
motivação
biggest
certa.
fan and current boyfriend, Rick,
O
was
Rick
about
estava
to
prestes a demonstrar
demonstrate
como...
when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter.
Seu irmão mais
Her
novo, Walter.
convention comeback
Seu retorno
was
me...
cancelled.
A convenção foi cancelada.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box.
Ela pegou. E a lá,
And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Ele imaginou o pior.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Ah,
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
ai.
Oh!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Walter vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And behind he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. She thought about abandoning Walter, but just couldn't do it. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet. Vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... Someone at the door was dying to speak to young Barbara. At the door, she heard whispering. Was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
Surprise! Bravo, Barbara! You were wonderful!
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. Famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear.
Ah,
Now, that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Conto macabro.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
É isso.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Será que tá aberto isso aqui agora? Não. Ah, é, tem que ir lá na caixinha de som. Opa. Opa.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot. I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents.
Edith Finch.
It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Porra.
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone.
Perguntar para minha mãe aonde o Walter tinha ido.
She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
Depois que a Bárbara morreu, ele foi o mais longe que pôde.
If there's a pattern in all these stories,
Então, deixa padrão de todos os casos.
I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
A gente não conseguiu. Lá muito longe. Walter.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything. Even a monster On the other side of the door starts to feel normal.
A porta começa a aparecer.
Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just
Um dia tudo apenas
stopped.
termina.
Whatever that thing was, it was gone.
Seja lá o que
Maybe it got tired of waiting.
talvez tenha cansado de esperar.
Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid.
Talvez eu tenha cansado de ficar com medo.
It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years.
Para um período mais de 30 anos.
I'm done waiting.
Cansei de esperar.
I have to leave. Well, I still can.
Mas ainda posso. Preciso. De livros. Olha.
I know it's out there, somewhere.
Está lá. Em algum lugar fora. Eu sei que está lá fora em algum lugar.
Whatever killed Barbara
Aquele que matou a Bárbara
and Molly
e a Molly
and Calvin.
e o Kevin.
Maybe this is all a mistake.
Talvez tudo seja engano.
But I need to stop living the same day. Even if it kills me.
Para de viver o mesmo dia.
Whatever's out there, I want you to
Seja lá
know
o que esteja lá
I'm
fora,
ready for it.
quero que você saiba que estou pronto.
I'm going to appreciate all of it,
Vou valorizar
especially the
tudo
food.
isso, especialmente a comida.
I don't mind if I only have a year left,
Não me importa se
or a month,
eu
or a
mês
single week.
ou só uma semana.
I'd be happy with one new
Eu
day.
ficará feliz com um novo dia.
I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Walter died when I was 6.
Outra morreu quando eu tinha
I
6
can't believe my mom never
Não
told me
acredito
he
que
was
minha
down
mãe
here.
nunca me contou que ele estava aqui embaixo.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
Tenho certeza que minha mãe estava tentando me proteger.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
Quem tá vendo?
But
Manda
if she
um sinal
never
de vida,
told me
pô.
about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding.
Só imagina o que mais eles estavam escondendo.
I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still
Vou
alive.
enterrar algo que ainda está vivo.
Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two,
Agora se sobrou ou talvez 2.
I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself
Achei que era hora de eu ouvir as histórias sozinho.
and found out what happened to everyone else.
Descobri o que aconteceu com o resto.
But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem.
Mas agora estou preocupada que as próprias histórias possam ser o problema.
Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Então vamos real.
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
O que deveria estar escrevendo isso mesmo?
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
Seria melhor que tudo isso morresse comigo.
But I thought you should know about your family.
Achei que você deveria saber sobre a sua família.
And the history you're a part of.
E sobre a história do qual você faz parte.
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you
Embora,
probably
para
do
ser
right
sincero, eu
now.
me sinto tão perdido quanto você deve estar agora.
I think the people in these stories believe
Acho que as
them.
pessoas nessas
For
histórias
what that's
acreditam
worth.
nelas, se é que isso importa.
And when you look at the house,
Quando você olha
that
para a
history
casa,
of imagination and stubbornness and
essa história de
madness,
imaginação.
any of it seems possible.
Tudo parece possível.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it.
Acho que ficamos cercados pela morte.
What kind of family finishes building a
Acho que
cemetery
família
before
termina de
starting the
construir
house?
cemitério antes de começar a casa.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but
Eu falei, eu admiti isso, mas
the pet cemetery made me more
cuidar dos
uncomfortable than
bichos
the
me
human
deixou
one.
mais desconfortável que os humanos.
3 of the gerbils are mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Tinha dois, assim, culpa minha.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the
Essa
cemetery.
casa é mais forte do que
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but
Minha mãe
for
estava
Edie, the
sempre
past
tentando
never went
seguir em
away.
frente, mas para o passado nunca se foi.
She could see it poking out of the water
Ela
at low
podia ver ele
tide.
tentando sair da água na maré baixa.
Edie said she dreamed about the old house every
Dizia
night.
que eu sonhava com a casa antiga todas as noites.
East Side was always easier for me to understand.
Sempre foi mais fácil para eu entender.
But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from.
Conforme fui ficando mais velho, mais consigo ver de onde minha mãe vinha.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did.
Ela
I get
perdeu
why
2
she
irmãos
tried so
como
hard
eu,
to protect
porque
us.
ela tentou tanto nos proteger.
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom
Uma
now.
coisa que eu queria poder me perguntar
Part
para
of me
minha mãe
thinks
agora.
this is what she wanted all
Parte de
along.
mim acha que era isso que
For me
eu
to...
descobri tudo.
If she told me there was going to be so much
Eu tinha
climbing,
dito que haveria tanta escalada.
I never would have come when I was 22
Eu
weeks
nunca teria
pregnant.
ido. Oh, oh. Quando estava grávida do extensional. Meu Deus. A menina tá grávida. Vou parar.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my
Cheguei
mom
a
had a lot
conhecer a
in
vovó.
common.
Vovô. Não, mas acho que ele e minha mãe tinha muito em comum.
They were both pretty intense.
Eles eram muito intensos.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Acho que todos temos medo de algo.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Hmm? Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged.
Shouldn't we be leaving?
Just want to get a shot of you, Dawn, then we can take off. Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? Please just take the damn picture.
Hey, language.
I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. The camera's older than you are.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up.
Still freezing, though.
Aw.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Hold still while I take a picture.
Hey!
That's a keeper.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere. I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Yeah.
I'm over here, Dad.
Puxa, não é possível. Não é possível, eu tô cego.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Now keep yourself squared up, elbows down, like we practiced. Whenever you're ready. Great shot, Dawn! I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay? Sorry, Dawn. Just gotta reset the timer.
Agora.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Tá porra. Caralho.
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Essa não esperava. Quem tá aí, mano? Dá sinal de vida. Ai, só vai. Vamos ver o que temos aqui, ó.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Gregory.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Gregory, it's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw. What his world was like. Reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was he saw. It sure made him happy. How silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw.
Eita boa, vai matar moleque.
There's so much I don't understand about Gregory, about everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. He'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Nossa. Pesado.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry.
Consigo imaginar que minha mãe escrevendo poesia, mas mesmo assim.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard. before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
Nossa, fácil.
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
Eu só pude guardar a tempestade entre isso.
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Me lembrou. Isso é brabo.
The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. All my father said this was, make the music louder.
Aquilo que meu pai disse foi para aumentar o volume da música.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus. My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. Louis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go.
Quando meu pai morreu, não acho que minha mãe conhecia outro lugar para ir.
I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Certeza que o Ed tinha orgulho de cuidar dela.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie
A
was
casa
used
teve
to
que ficar
that.
pouco maior para ele estar acostumado. Ah, jogo é maneiro, hein?
And for a while, things were good.
E por tempo as
Almost
coisas
normal.
estavam boas, quase normais.
But it didn't last.
Mas não durou.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
O início do fim foi o aniversário de 10 anos de Milton, quando a Ed deu um... Cortou. Então que isso aí. Vai.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Pincel mágico.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Desapareceu.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
Depois lacrou as portas.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Na casa, mas não queria que saísse. Vou ter mais coisa pra cima.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room.
Depois que ele se formou, passou
Until
cada
Mom
vez
got him
mais
a job
tempo
at the
nesse
cannery.
quarto, até que a mãe arranjou trabalho para ele na fábrica de conservas.
Louis's room smelled very, very familiar.
Familiar,
That part of him lived on.
Ele nasceu viva.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats and toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay. but his mind was
Ele
already
falou para que
wandering.
ele ficasse, mas sua mente já estava lá à deriva. Ele já estava à deriva.
It became a game for him.
Ele virou para ele.
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on.
Ele havia conquistado uma cidade perigosa.
New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality.
Ele começou a afastar de novo a realidade.
Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery.
Até que dia ele se esqueceu de voltar para casa.
Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of
Embora
Louis
sua mãe
kept sailing
tinha
on.
pedido para ele continuar a deriva.
In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a
Ele até ouviu boatos sobre uma linda rainha.
handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for
A rainha estava numa aventura atrás de
sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
Não era aquele cortando sua morte nas possíveis atrás de um palácio dourado.
My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. Began to forget the world we know.
Ele começou a se esquecer do mundo que conhece.
I think it pained him to remember Louis, the cannery worker.
Acho que era doloroso para ele se lembrar de Louis, o trabalhador da fábrica.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Esse homem com desprezo.
I still thought I could save him.
Eu ainda achava que poderia salvá-lo.
Even after he said he was being crowned
Mesmo
king
depois
over all the lands of
de
wonder.
dito que seria coroado rei em todas as terras da fantasia.
The palace would be packed with his
O palácio
companions.
estaria lotado com seus companheiros.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him. His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do.
Havia apenas mais uma coisa a fazer.
Bend down his head.
Levar sua cabeça. Eita, cara.
The rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Tiro sua falta. Caralho! Ele botou a cabeça naquela porra.
My brother was really cool.
Meu irmão
I
era
wish you
muito
could have met
legal,
him.
queria que você tivesse conhecido ele.
He was so proud of being Indian.
tinha muito
I
orgulho
think for
de ser
him it was a way to
indiano,
be
acho, para ele.
something other than just a
Uma
Finch.
credencial ali de apenas Finch.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my
Na
mom
volta
told me to
final de
start
Luiz, minha
packing.
mãe me disse que para começar a fazer isso,
I wish we'd stayed,
queria que tivesse ficado.
but I understand why we left.
Eu entendo por que fomos.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Acabou deixando tudo para trás. Não acabou deixando tudo para trás.
What happened that night had been coming for a long
O que
time.
aconteceu naquela noite estava para acontecer há muito tempo.
Maybe it should have come sooner.
Talvez devesse ter acontecido antes.
But it had to end one way or another.
Precisam terminar de uma forma ou de outra.
All that's left now is to tell you about that last
Tudo
night.
que restou agora é contar para você sobre aquela última noite.
That whole last day, Edie just
No
watched
último
us
dia, a
pack
gente
and
só
didn't
ficou
say a
olhando a
word.
gente fazer as malas e não falou nada.
Until supper, when she raised her glass
Até a
and
hora de
said,
jantar, quando levantou seu corpo e
To
disse,
our final night together,
"A nossa última
and all our final
noite
nights
e todas as
apart.
nossas noites separadas."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway.
Simplesmente para
Why
você no
don't you go
corredor.
open it?
Por que
The
não
grown-ups
vai lá?
have to
Eles
argue
precisam
now.
discutir agora.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last.
I'm not leaving.
Eu não
Edith,
vou.
you're excused.
Você pode sair.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance.
Guardou minha mãe na biblioteca, acho que ela não sabia sobre a outra entrada.
Or that Edie had a key to it.
Ou que ela tinha chave.
The thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house.
Você foi embora dessa casa.
Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your
Meus filhos vão morrer
story.
por causa das suas histórias.
I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
Acho que é melhor que fomos embora hoje.
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the
Motivo para
morning.
o
Okay?
Assino mandar um buscar você.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born.
Eu sei o que aconteceu a noite que você nasceu.
That night, the tide went
Aquela
way,
noite.
way out. It was the first and last time
Foi a
I
primeira
ever
vez
saw
que
the
eu
old
vi a velha
house
casa
aground.
encalhada.
There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean.
Terremoto no meio do oceano.
They called it the lowest tide in
Foi a
1,000
maré mais
years.
baixa.
God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it.
Eu nunca pensei que voltaria para lá.
When the fog rolled in, I
Quando a neva
lost
chegou,
my
me perdi.
way. I got turned around. I started seeing things.
Comecei a ver coisas.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed.
Coisas que eu tinha me esquecido que existiam.
But when I saw them, they felt like
Mas
old
quando as
friends.
vi, elas pareciam velhas amigas.
That night, a lot of things came back to me.
Naquela noite me lembrei de muitas coisas.
Or maybe I came back to them.
Talvez eu tenha voltado para elas.
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
O que você está
It's
fazendo aqui?
mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
A minha mãe me arrastou até o carro.
I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
E a vida de novo.
The next morning, the van came to pick her up.
A manhã seguinte
She
ficou
was
bom
already
para
gone.
buscar, mas ela já tinha ido embora.
After that, we moved around a lot.
Depois disso, nós mudamos bastante.
We both tried to make the best of it.
Nós decidimos aproveitar ao máximo.
A few years went by.
Os anos passaram.
My mom didn't like to talk about it,
Minha mãe não gostava de falar do assunto.
but she started getting sick a lot.
Ela começou a ficar doente.
The rest happened pretty quickly.
O resto aconteceu muito rapidamente.
She got better for a while,
Ela ficava bom tempo.
and then she didn't.
Depois ficaria.
And then I was alone.
E aí fiquei sozinho.
The last Finch
A
left
última
alive.
Finch viva.
until I found out about you.
Até que descobri sua existência.
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all
Tenho
this.
certeza de que isso é sobre tudo isso.
If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things.
Vivemos para sempre, talvez
But as it
tenhamos
is,
tempo de entender
I
as
think
coisas.
the best we
Antes
can
de
do
julgar
is
as
try to
coisas, a
open our
melhor coisa a
eyes
fazer é tentar abrir nossos olhos.
and appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Caralho. É emocionante, velho. E aí, quem tá vendo aí? Acompanha esse final. Mas então, pessoal, é isso. Acabou, zerei essa porra. Porra, maneiro, eu gostei pra caralho. Deixa eu ver se tem alguma coisa. É isso. Então, pessoal, vou finalizar a live aí, velho. Falou.